All right, so like I said, you guys in the video class, excellent chapel. Boy, I enjoyed that. Worship was wonderful.
Yes.
And I got a good message from the Lord about
my mentor was
unity.
up there singing.
Oh yeah, yes. That's impressive to have the older students up there leading us in worship. They did a fantastic job.
I just hit my
All right, well, 7th grade, let's get things rolling here. I know we don't have a bell to necessarily start class, so let's just move right on in. Yes, sir.
If I got something I forgot.
Yes, please, real quick then.
in the middle of one second.
All right, here's what you need to be successful today. You need your homework. Pardon me, air bubble. Now then, your homework is your section 3A handout. Now, I believe you received that on Monday because you guys were so stellar and you finished your tests up pretty quickly.
And
So-
my home.
Yeah, so I believe you got that Monday. So most of you started it Monday after reading the portion of your book. And then you were assigned it specifically on Wednesday. So make sure and pull that out. We're going to review that in class. We're going to actually trade it and grade it and see how you did here. You will also need your notebooks. We're going to record one piece of notes from basically that we missed on Wednesday. And then we're going to add in a brand new entry today. You're going to get to learn all the cool cell parts.
So I don't need my textbook.
This right here is a model of cells, animal cells. So basically all the billions of cells that make up your body look kind of like this. Now they can be different shapes and sizes and colors, but we're going to learn all these parts and pieces that build up your cells. And the cool thing is, without these parts and pieces, your cells wouldn't be able to live or survive. And if your cells can't live or survive, then you can't live or survive. So I'm pretty thankful that God knew what he was doing when he built us and put our cells together and made them work just perfectly to keep us nice and happy and living.
Alive.
Yeah. All right, so that's where we're headed. So notice we're going to review the homework first. You will get your test back. We'll review our homework. Then we're going to add in active transport into our notes. Then we're going to get into animal cell parts, like you saw on the model down here. And then I'll introduce you to Friday's homework. Yes?
So when I was doing the egg osmosis lab, when I was weighing my eggs and I took them off of the scale, I dropped it and it cracked and it splattered everywhere.
Oh no, you have to start over with a new egg.
I just had to do a new egg.
Okay,
I used to
yeah.
say vinegar, but this is
Now,
whatever.
on your egg experiment,
Oh my.
on your experiment that you're working on at home, you took 3 eggs, right? Right now, your eggs should all be soaking in their baths.
Yes.
Should be.
My shells are already like completely gone.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, so they should all be soaking in their vinegar bath. Now, remember, your experiment, is not the same as what we watched on the video. Okay, it's not identical. So make sure you're following your directions from your handout. So on Friday, you're going to change your bathing egg because after it bathes for a while, it's going to get the shell taken off. And
It's shelled.
yeah, you're going to have a naked egg, 3 naked eggs. So what you're going to do is then submerge them in other solutions. So one goes in water, one goes in vinegar, so it remains vinegar, and the other goes in corn syrup.
Okay, so you're keeping one egg in water.
One in water,
one egg in
one in vinegar, and one in corn syrup.
Okay.
And then you watch them for the course of, till next Wednesday.
Wait, I have a question. So what?
8 days. Mm-hmm.
So after the shell is taken off in the vinegar, does anything else happen to the egg?
We'll have to wait and see.
Oh, I have an amazing prank for my mom on April Fool's.
We'll have to wait and see. All right, so let's get things rolling here. First things first, I do have your tests for you. And I know you're really eager to see how you did. By the way, we did phenomenal. I think the overall average was a 90%, which is an A, so congratulations. Before I hand your test back, I do want to tell you one quick thing. You had the opportunity to do bonus, didn't you?
Yeah.
Now your test score has already been entered into Facts, or RedWeb, and I've entered it as 2. So your test score, and you also have an assignment called Bonus, Chapter 2 Bonus.
So the bonus does not count on the test, or are they 2 different things?
Here's what I did. When you get your test back, you're going to see that you have your test score on there. It was worth 49 points. So you'll see how many you got out of 49 points and the grade that you earned. But not only that, you had the opportunity to do bonus. So in the grade book, I wrote down you have bonus that is worth 0 points. So let's think about that. If you got a 0 out of 0, is that going to hurt your grade?
No.
No.
No. So if you got a 0 out of 0, your parents may go, what? Why'd you get a 0? Well, just tell them it's okay. Bonus is only worth 0, so it's not hurting my grade. So if you got a 0 out of 0, no worries. On the other hand, if you chose to do some bonus and get some extra points, let's say you got a 3 out of 0. Ooh, nice. Will 3 extra points help a science grade?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you earned extra bonus points, that's going to be added in to your overall grade. So it will increase your overall grade a little bit. Okay. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get your test passed out. We're going to do this quickly. As I'm passing out tests, I would also encourage you to review your homework, the Section 3A handout. I want you to review that because we're about to trade it and grade it, okay? So make sure it's your best work before we grade it. All right, so here we go. I'll pass out tests and then we'll grade our homework. So, 7th graders, here's what I need you to do as Abby's collecting your work. Please open up your notebooks to,
Do we need to write in
what was this?
active
Wednesday's work.
transport?
What was her title on Wednesday?
Cell membrane.
Bless you. Cell membranes. So everyone open up to cell membranes, please. And we're going to add in one definition that we unfortunately left off. And we don't want to leave this off because it is on your test. You need it in your notes. Your notebooks are hurting and crying to get this inside.
Or mine's
Active
yellowing.
transport. Don't we need to go to active transport?
I'm sorry?
Active transport.
Yes, that's it.
I already made it. I made a new page for accidentally.
All right, so here's what we need to add. We have already discovered what passive transport is. And you guys know that if someone's passive, they're not using a lot of energy, are they? They're just kind of chilling out. So I bet you can figure out what active transport is then, right? It's the opposite of passive, of course. You guys know that. So let's add in a definition for active
Your computer's
transport.
going wacko.
What's that?
The thing's going wacko.
Oh, wacko?
It's switching off and everything.
Now you can see here, this is like an image of a cell. And it takes energy to push some things out and energy to pull some things in. Now diffusion, does diffusion require energy?
No.
Yeah, no.
No. So osmosis is diffusion with water, right? So your eggs that you have bathing at home, is it requiring energy for water to move? No. But there are times when cells use energy to pull things in or push things out. So we call that active transport because the cell is being active. It's actively using its own energy. So let's make sure that we add this to our notes. Look at Wednesday, because you do need to know the difference between passive transport and active transport. So hopefully you guys are you're modeling active transport right now, aren't you? You're actively transporting and moving your pencils as you write down the definitions. Thank you for practicing active transport.
I'm not active transporting anymore because I'm dead.
You already finished the definition, didn't you?
I mean, I think you still are.
You're still breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still
He
chewing
was
gum.
talking
heart's
about
beating.
writing on a sheet of paper.
Your heart's beating.
Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah. Your
We're
body's
all,
processing food.
we're all
Now then, if you have active transport included in your notes, please give me a thumbs up.
True.
Why? Your thumb comes with a spring or something. It has sound effects. Now then, let's change gears. We're going to switch to animal cells.
Oh, that's fine.
And yes, you are made of animal cells. Sorry, that's just how scientists classify it. I'm not saying you're an animal, but maybe your parents do. I don't know.
Yes.
So we're going to see how God designed your cells. What did he put in there? He obviously gave your cell a cell membrane, right? And you already know what that does. It can suck things in or push things out. What else did he put in your cells and why?
How many cells
No.
do you think is in
Is
a
that-
cell?
Oh, way too many to count.
Is that thing on the top left? Is that protein, or is that it sucking in, or is that just the shape of it?
This here,
Yeah.
basically that's a pore that can allow.
Wait a minute.
Now, I will tell you this. For our test that we're taking in this class, you need to know, I believe, 6 cell parts, okay? But there are more than 6 cell parts. So what I want you to focus in on are the 6 that I teach you in class for the test. But if you want to learn more, you can learn more because there are more than 6 parts. So if you want to dig deeper, please do. You guys are super stellar scientists. I know you can handle that. So let's get ready for the parts that we're going to learn about animal cells, or cells that build up us. So let's make a brand new notebook entry for today. We're going to call it Animal Cell Parts. Sorry, that's not what the screen says. But what is your title today?
Animal cell parts.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get it ready, please. Animal Cell Parts is our title. Today is October the 1st. It's a brand new one. And as far as what page, I don't know. Whatever the next open page is in your notes. All right, so as you're getting ready, I want you to consider
October 1st.
today's topic. Why is this even important? Why should we even learn the parts and pieces that build up your cell? Why should we even care that God put parts and pieces inside our cells? Let's think about that. If your cell didn't have parts and pieces to it, could that cell function? No. Okay. If that cell's parts and pieces didn't do all their jobs properly, then your cell would die, wouldn't it? Now, here's the thing. If your cell dies, what does that mean about you?
You don't die.
Well,
Part of you dies.
If all your cells die, then you are dying, right?
Yeah.
So, when God put all these cell parts into you, He put them there for a reason, didn't He? He put them there so that your cells can function and do all that they need to do to live and survive. Now, that's pretty cool because it's keeping you alive right now, isn't it? So as you're seated here, just simply observing the cell and observing our photographer, you...
Good for your books already.
No, absolutely. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. So as you're doing all that, your cells are doing different things inside. So let's discover what they're doing, okay? All right, here we go. Your cells have parts and pieces. We call those parts and pieces an organelle. Can you say organelle?
Organelle.
Aha. So an organelle simply is a fancy scientific term that means cell parts or cell pieces. That's right. Your cells have many parts. Now you can see on the screen 2 examples. I put an animal cell on the screen, which of course it's a cartoon version. You know, it's not an actual real picture of one under a microscope, but you will see that later.
Wait.
So you can see this is like a cartoon version, someone's illustration. But notice it has all these parts and pieces. But not only do animal cells have parts and pieces, every type of cell does. Even plant cells, like this one over here. Now, the cool thing is, an animal cell has all these parts and pieces, and so does the plant cell, but the plant cell has additional parts.
Cell walling.
Because plants can do some cool things you can't do.
what is it?
Yeah, they make their own food. Sorry, you can't do that. I mean, you can go to the kitchen and cook, but that's not really making your own food. They make their own food inside their cells. Yeah, so,
What are the parts of those parts called?
ooh, well, those parts, or organelles, are obviously made out of molecules.
Cells.
And the molecules, you know, are made of
Atoms.
atoms. Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks for breaking that down for us.
What?
All right, so let's
I
learn
think
the
it's so
key organelles or parts that build up your cells, Drew. You ready? All right, the first one. You know that your cell has an outer surrounding. You know that your cell has a cell membrane, right? It can suck things in and it can push things out. But isn't there an element of choice there? I mean, like, if I ask you to pick out your favorite candy bar, if you are getting selective about that, you have to think about it, right? Cells have to be selective too. selective on what they take in and what they push out. Does that mean they have to have a brain? Picking and choosing? It does. Your cells have their very own brain. It's right here, right in the center.
Nucleus.
It is the nucleus. So your cells, all the billions of them, have their own little brains. So yeah, you have billions and billions of brains in you. They're called nuclei, or a nucleus.
Can we do our little drawing?
We're going to draw one later, okay? At the end of our class. You like to draw and illustrate things? Active. All right, so you can see here the nucleus. It's the control center. It's like the brain of your cell. It tells the cell membrane what to absorb and what to reject.
Looks like an egg.
It tells all those other parts and pieces exactly what to do as well.
It looks like a different colored avocado.
It does look like an egg. In fact, an egg is a cell, isn't it? So your 3 chicken eggs that you have soaking and bathing right now in their vinegar solution, well, they are cells, 3 large cells. And you're going to strip the shell off and get it down to that cell membrane.
So, eggs are in one cell?
Yep. So your egg in your egg experiment, does it have a nucleus?
No. Yeah, it's the yolk.
The yolk. The yolk is the nucleus.
So egg white is cytoplasm?
Yes.
Yum.
Isn't that cool?
Does that mean we're made of
My
eggs?
mom eats cytoplasm then.
Yes.
We all eat cytoplasm.
I'm gonna go gross her out.
In fact, anything you eat is actually, well, you're eating either animal cells or plant cells.
Or maybe you're eating.
Anytime you eat,
your
right?
own cells. You might eat
Or you're
your own
eating
cells,
like
so nice.
chemicals.
Shush.
If you're eating sugar, that sugar came from a plant.
Yummy.
Is
Yeah,
that weird?
my grandpa, he like made like a sugar mill, like a brown
Oh.
sugar mill in Louisiana.
Mhm.
Once saw it. Like there's tons of sugar cane. You can go out there and pick it, and if you shave it with like a, if you like carve it off with like a knife, you just chew on it and like.
Yes,
Oh, it's so good.
that is. Big
I
man.
just saw it.
Yeah, I want that now.
All right. So does everyone have the nucleus recorded? Now inside the nucleus is some very, very special information. In fact, you can see this nucleus, it's like cut open and you can see inside. Inside your nucleus is some very special information. In fact, the Bible says that He knew you when He formed you in your mother's womb. Now here's a cool thing. Inside your nucleus are chromosomes. Can you say chromosomes?
Chromosomes.
Chromosomes.
Oh. Now chromosomes are basically like libraries filled with books and information. Now, sorry, you don't really have books in your nucleus, but you do have these special things called chromosomes. So chromosomes store information about that living organism. So your chromosomes inside your nucleus contains information about you. So let's take your chromosomes, for example. You have billions and billions of cells, right? In every single nucleus of every single cell you have the exact same chromosomes. The same information. In fact, raise your hand if you enjoy watching crime shows or CSI,
Sorry.
detective
Oh.
shows.
I love detective shows.
Now, you notice they use chromosomes quite often. If, for example, some bad person's come in and done something bad, committed a crime, the detectives go around looking for cells left behind. They're looking for maybe a trace of hair that the criminal left. Or maybe a little bit of skin they got peeled off in their scuffle or fight. Or maybe a drop of blood from the thief that scraped his hand on the window as it broke. You see, they're looking for the nucleus of the criminal. If you can get a cell, crack it open, you can crack open the nucleus and chromosomes of that criminal, you can open that up and practically read that library. Your chromosomes are shaped like an X. And in that X is all this spaghetti noodle looking stuff. It's called a double helix. It's a ladder that looks twisted,
Ooh, I love to.
but it contains all the information about you. Half the information came from your mother, half the information came from your father, and God knit it together perfectly to make you exactly who you are. The cool thing is there's no one else on the planet that has your exact DNA or chromosomes, even identical twins.
She's not identical.
No.
They're fraternal.
All
We're
right.
fraternal.
So
No way.
most of your chromosomes are identical, but not all of them. And even identical twins, their chromosomes aren't exactly identical, okay? But they're very, very, very close. All right. So does everyone have chromosomes in your notes?
Yes, sir.
All right. We got to move on. I'm sorry. Our time is very, very short. Inside your cell is some jelly-like goo, and it's very important that it's there. It's called cytojelly. Whoops. I'm sorry. Cytoplasm.
Cyto jelly.
But it is like jelly. All right, so I'm gonna stand here so you can see. Now, what if I took a baby robin egg and I stuck it in this bottle and I gave it a nice hefty shake? What's gonna happen to the egg?
Go splat.
It's gonna splat. But what if I fill this jar up with Jello or some kind of real thick syrupy stuff and then I shake it? The bird egg will be protected, won't it? The same is true in our cells. God gave our cells jelly filling. And you can see up here, it's the gray stuff, isn't it? This jelly filling protects everything inside the cell. It's amazing, isn't it? It's like God gave us exactly what we need. Now,
Sorry.
up here on the screen, you see cheek cells. So we scrape them off someone's cheek, put them under a microscope, and this is what it looks like. What is this purple line I'm pointing to?
Membrane.
Membrane.
Nope, the purple line, the outside covering.
Oh, the cell wall.
The cell membrane.
Oh,
The
sorry.
cell membrane. Plant cells have cell walls, but this would be the cell membrane. What would this dark thing be in the center of the cell?
Nucleus.
That's the nucleus, right? And so you can see the jelly-like filling is all this yellow filling here in the middle. Cytoplasm. All right, the next thing we have. Sorry, we gotta move quick because we're down to just a few minutes. The next thing we have are storage units. All cells get a storage unit.
Vacuole.
Yep, and we call that storage unit a vacuole. It's like you get a storage closet at your house. You use it to store things in. Cells need storage too, so they can store water, food, or waste in that vacuole. Now up here in this model, an animal cell vacuole is quite small. It's very tiny. You can see this one's the blue dot. We don't need a lot of storage in our cells. Plants, on the other hand, need a lot of storage. So the cell you see on the screen is a plant cell that's been chopped in half, and we're looking into it. You can see the outside covering. You can see its nucleus. But look how large its vacuole is. It needs that for the water that it stores. Plants have to store a lot of water, a lot more than we need. All right, so that is the vacuole. Now, the last and final part that we're going to learn, it's my favorite because it's mighty. It's packed with power. It's like a nuclear power plant, kind of. It's the powerhouse of the cell. It processes your energy. It's called the mighty mitochondria. Now, that mighty mitochondria is so special and so important. Without it, your cells would die. It basically takes in food, energy, and processes it so that your cell can do anything and everything it needs to do. Now, this is what a mitochondria would look like. It looks like a bean. And if you chop it in half, it has all these tubes and passageways in it. All it does is suck up certain ingredients and then put out energy. Okay? Now, my apologies. We didn't have near as much time due to chapel, which is very typical for Thursday. But what we're going to do here next is give you your homework, okay? In fact, your homework is to complete this handout right here. Now, I have some really special information about it. This handout is what you will write on to complete your homework. But to complete this handout, you need to read 2 pages.
Okay.
I'm not giving you those 2 pages right now.
They're on Google Classroom.
Those 2 pages are on Google Classroom, okay? So you have to go on Google Classroom. Yes, it is. You open up the assignment, you read your 2 pages, and then you can complete this handout right here.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, awesome, guys.